It's me. It's me. It's that CHEZ coming at you from House Money Fantasy. I'm with TJB. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I am so pumped for this big time 3 game NBA slate for Super Bowl Sunday. Starts at 12 o'clock Eastern, so it's gonna be
Yeah, I
great.
don't, I don't know. I'm not playing this. I don't know who is, but we'll talk some
I'll be
plays
playing
first.
those free GPPs, and that's about it. But I'll
Yeah,
I'll have
right.
a lineup out there. So we only have a 3 game slate here, so we're just gonna go game by game. Starting out with just taking on my Brooklyn Nets. TJ, who do you like from this game?
Yeah,
There's
there's no
actually
total out
no
yet.
total in spread.
Yeah, just because we're waiting on the news of if DeRozan's gonna play. So let's just go. We'll start with your Brooklyn Nets here. Brook Lopez, as always. I don't know why DraftKings just hates him. He's always underpriced. 6,700. They did bump him up a little bit, and he has not been performing great recently, but still at 6,700, you got to take that value. I mean, especially at this slate where there's not that much at center, especially. I think he's a fine play against Toronto. Moving down on Brooklyn, you got your boy Bojan. He's always just, there's no way to predict when this man's gonna go off. So he's worth the shot in GPP. He put up not their last game against Toronto, but the one before that, he put up 31.5. So we actually have a decent sample size because the Nets and Toronto have faced 3 times already this year. So let's go back and look at Brook Lopez's game log real quick. So last game against him, he put up 43.5. The game before that, 34.8. And the first game, he sat out. So that's still a solid sample.
I like
Moving
that.
on, yeah, it's not bad. Moving on Brooklyn, Karis LeVert, if he gets to start
God.
again, which I don't think he will because he started for Bogdanovich, who
Yeah.
I think he was just out for
Yeah, it was
rest.
just out for rest.
So I just want to hear your thoughts on Karis LeVert because there's a lot of people I know that claim that this man is like the most talented guy in the Nets.
I
As someone who
don't see
watches some
that.
Nets games,
I
yeah,
like people love him and Ronda House Jefferson. I'm like, these guys are not. There's 2 NBA players on this team. It's Brook Lopez, and it's when it's healthy, it's Jeremy Lin. But everyone else
yeah,
they should be in the D League.
yeah, yeah. He did put up 28.3 against Toronto last time, but I'm probably not playing him. He did get a price hike after the last game he started. So moving down, I'm not playing Trevor Booker. There's really no one else. Is Spencer Dinwiddie still getting a run? Yeah, he's out of the starting lineup now. The last 2 games.
Yeah,
Is he? I don't know if
I
he's going to get back in there. But even last game,
it,
he played 27 minutes starting lineup.
just play Brook and ignore the rest of this team and stack the team you're playing against. That's how you attack my Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, so we're gonna move on. All right, let me move on to Toronto real quick. Let me pull them up here. All right, so the big news is all going to come down to whether DeMar DeRozan. Sorry, my phone's falling here. Whether DeMar DeRozan sits. I think he's going to play. He seemed pretty close to playing the other day. So we'll see there. If he, yeah, it says this is projecting him to play. If he does play, that puts Kyle Lowry even against the Nets. I don't think he's in play at 9,200. That's way too expensive. He did not play the last game against the Nets, so that's going to skew some of the sample sizes here. But the last 2 games before that, he did put up 44.5 and 48. Obviously, the Nets they have the worst defensive efficiency in the entire league and also play at the fastest pace in the entire league. So you can just attack them everywhere. But for 9,200, even on this small slate, that's just a little too much for me to pay for Lowry if DeRozan's back. If DeRozan is still out, I think he's going to be a lock and load for pretty much everybody. And that brings us to DeMar DeRozan at 7,700, who, like I said, is questionable. He put up 60.8 DK points last time he faced Toronto, but again, that was out without Kyle Lowry, so it's a little skewed, but still a great game. And at 7,700, he's just if he was fully healthy, and wasn't injured, he'd probably be close to 8,500, 8,700 in the spot. So he's 1,000 too cheap if he does play tomorrow. Moving down, Jonas Valanciunas, I'm not really considering unless DeMar DeRozan is out, then I think he's a solid play. Is there anyone else I really want to attack here? Not playing DeMar Carroll, who just doesn't look right. Terrence Ross, I suppose if DeMar DeRozan does play in this game, turns into a blowout. He
That's
did
what I
manage
was
to
gonna
put up,
say.
yeah, He did manage to put up 30 DK points against him last time, but that was also, again, without Kyle Lowry. And then the last guy here is, actually two more guys. Lucas Nogueira, I can never say his last name. He's been playing really well. He's hit at least 5x, actually at least 6x value in, let's see, like 5 of his last 8 games. He's been getting run. He's been getting mid-20s minutes. And against the Nets, like anytime you can get a big man mid-20s minutes at just 3,600, I think that's a great spot. Even though he does have some home-away splits to look out for. He's been worse on the road. But I would still play him against Brooklyn. That's just doesn't get much better than that. And finally, last guy off the bench here, who I do actually target pretty often in GVPs, but he hasn't been paying off recently, is Corey Joseph, who obviously his game logs are a little skewed because last time without Kyle Lowry, he drew the start and just mashed 44 points in 37 minutes, 44 DK points, not real life points. But then even the game before that, when he was coming off the bench, he put up 35.5 in just 22 minutes. And before that, 24.8 in just 25 minutes. So he can easily match value, especially if this game turns into a blowout, which the last one of them turned into a blowout. The other two were the Raptors won by about 12.
So I have 2 things to say before we move off of this wonderful game of my Brooklyn Nets. So yesterday I was watching them play, and I witnessed Quincy AC airball a 3. So that was fun.
Oh God, he's
and I looked at the standings. My Nets are 9-41, which is 6 less wins than any other team in the league. That first pick for the Boston Celtics. Speaking of the Boston Celtics, they are hosting the Los Angeles Clippers with 5-point favorites with a total of 222. So who do you like from this game, TJ?
I like that transition.
That was amazing. I was right on the spot.
I was actually going to say, though, the weird thing is, like, as bad as Brooklyn is, it seems like they're in almost all of these games somehow.
I know, it's ridiculous. It's like so and like they're interesting to watch, but they're just so bad.
Yeah, and like usually what happens is even the teams playing against them, like I said, blowout concerns, but like normally the starters get some decent run because they're in that game for like 3 quarters, or like doing it. They're close for a while, and then they just get destroyed. So for Boston, you got the man, the myth, the legend, Isaiah Thomas, who has just been mashing recently without Avery Bradley. That's another injury news to look out for. I haven't heard too much about Avery Bradley. I have a feeling he's not going to play. I'm just going to err on the side of caution there. And let's say he doesn't play. Then Isaiah Thomas, God, he's 9,900. It's expensive, but I mean, when you look at his game log, he's hit 49 plus. And let's see.
4 straight.
No, even like in let's see, 7 of his last 9. Yeah, that game against the Magic when he only played 25 minutes, he still hit over 40. He managed he put up like 17. Yeah, I think 17 real life points in the fourth quarter against the Lakers the other day.
He seems to do that every game.
Oh yeah, he's a monster in the fourth quarter. So I'm fine with him for cash. I don't know if he really has the upside for tournaments at that price. But if Avery Bradley's out, there's no way I see him getting less than 40. Even against, I mean, the Clippers without Chris Paul they lose a lot on the defensive efficiency side. So, and then the 2 guys to look for in cash, I would say, Al Horford. I think I'd rather play Brook Lopez for 200 less. I think he's a better value just because Al Horford, he's consistent, but he's consistently 4.5x. He never really he sometimes gets over 5x. He has virtually no upside. I wouldn't play him in tournaments. So he's okay if you want to go there. Jay Crowder is another guy. Without Avery Bradley, he's basically just a shoo-in for 28 to 35 DK points. I think that's a reasonable production here for him against the Clippers. It's about an average matchup. Let's see. Is there anyone else you really want to target here? Outside of the big 3 there, I don't think there's anyone else I'd look to on Boston. But I have to say, keep an eye definitely on the Avery Bradley news. If he does come back, it's just going to put pretty much all of these guys out of play, I would say, just because they're all overpriced and they're priced for Avery Bradley sitting, which if he doesn't, it just throws off the whole slate here. So moving on to the Clippers side of that game. 1 second, let me pull that up. All right, so top guy, Blake Griffin. He's been a beast the last 2 games.
Hold on.
Cheese,
Did you
want to start
say
off your Blake Griffin?
Blake Griffin?
Oh, I did.
Look at that
Why do you
retro
have
Blake Griffin
Blake
jersey.
Griffin jersey?
I got it for
Why do you
$10.
have that?
I don't know. I saw it for $10. I had to buy it.
Well, now you got to play Blake Griffin tomorrow.
Free
Positive
GPP
matchup
lineup.
in DVP. Yeah, exactly. He's got a positive matchup. I mean, Boston has that's the problem with Boston. What they're looking for at the trade deadline is a big because they don't really. Al Horford doesn't really play too big. So Blake Griffin's put up over 50 in each of his last 2 games. Granted, that was Golden State, which is a pace-up game, in Phoenix, which is a great matchup. But still, Boston is almost just as good as a matchup. And he did get a price hike. He was 7,700 last slate. Now he's 8,600, which I probably wouldn't use him in cash. Without Chris Paul, like the usage is just going to be there, and I think he's worth a shot in tournaments. DeAndre Jordan just hasn't been getting it done recently. I'm not really looking at him. Like I'd rather play Horford or Brook Lopez. Austin Rivers is going to go up against Isaiah Thomas, who is literally the worst defender in the league. Like DRPM rating, he's the worst. So that's definitely a matchup to target. He's 6,100. Did see a price drop even after putting up 33 last game. And he's been pretty consistent for cash. He's hit like over 4x value, which is something I look for. I like to have a nice floor in my cash game plays. And he's done that in pretty much over 10 games straight. So moving on here, let's see. JJ Redick against no Avery Bradley, I suppose is in play. I can't do it for cash because he's a little too volatile. But I think he's fine for GPP if you want to take a shot there. His price hasn't really come up, and he's been performing well recently. Unfortunately, they haven't played Boston this season, so they don't really have much of a matchup to look at. Jamal Crawford, another guy you could target with Avery Bradley out. He did really well against Golden State last game. He was like draining threes that whole game.
I don't think there's he's basically like Taylor Gabriel kind of player. Just he either goes off or like he just doesn't play. It's like the most volatile player in NBA.
Yeah, and even recently, he's hit 6x value in 4 of his last 5. And I think it's a positive match. I wouldn't mind him for GPP. That's probably about it on the Clipper side. I would rather pay up to Austin Rivers and go to Raymond Felton. And that's about all they have. Maurice Spates I'm not playing. All right. Last game of the day here.
We have the Portland Trailblazers heading to OKC, take on the Thunder. The Thunder are 4-point favorites. Totals at 216.5. So obviously Westbrook.
Mm-hmm. I just couldn't remember. Do you give a total and spread in the last game? Did I miss that?
Yes, I did.
What was it again? I was just wondering.
It was totals 222. Celtics favored by 5.
Okay. So that's probably going to be Brooklyn and Toronto will be a higher total, but so Portland OKC is going to be the lowest total. You mentioned Westbrook. Let's start there. Unfortunately, we didn't get to have him stay at the price he was against Memphis. He was only 11.5, put up 83 DraftKings points. I wish we could have had him stay there instead they bumped him up 1,300 to 12.8, and I probably won't be paying that. There's really not that much value on this slate. It's going to be really hard to squeeze him in. It's a positive matchup against Damian Lillard and the Trailblazers, but he struggled against them last time, only 30-60 DK points, and I can't pay that much for him. That's really 65 points or maybe like 63 to get you value. And I know he can do that, but that's just a lot. He's
averaging 64.2 fantasy points per game.
I know,
so ridiculous.
Nah,
you're right. With the way the slate is, it's hard to fit.
Yeah, there's no value.
Someone
you
like
can't
that.
fit him in there. But yeah, I always like playing Westbrook. Especially, I like him more for tournaments because he just has crazy upside, man. I'm just glad I played him last night against Memphis when he hit 83. All right, so moving on there, Steven Adams. Oh, God, they gave us. I wish we had Steven Adams at the 4,900 price tag he was the other day, but unfortunately he went for 41.3 against Memphis in 44 minutes. So they bumped him up to 5,600. And I think I would honestly pay that if you're looking to move down at center a little bit, because Portland they have no Like their rebounding differential is one of the last in the leagues. They haven't been able to stop bigs all year. And without Enes Kanter, Steven Adams gets a little bit of a boost. Like I said, 44 minutes his last game. I haven't checked to see if that was because of foul trouble to some other guys. But that's if he can play even 35 plus, I'd be happy. Victor Oladipo was a guy who let's see here, for 6 straight games was hitting like 5x, almost close to 6x every game. And his price hadn't gone up. He was around 5,500 the entire time. And then people finally started playing him, and what do you know? He goes for 20 and 19.8 his last 2. So I don't know if I'm going to be playing him against Portland. It's not a bad matchup. They aren't the most efficient defense, but I'd rather play Steven Adams if we're talking just straight up. I'd rather play Steven Adams for 200 more than Oladipo. Outside of that, on the Thunder, there really isn't much else. Sabonis was a guy I played last time, and he completely burned me. For when did I play him here? Against Chicago, I played him.
In his last game, in which he scored 3.3 fantasy points. So
man.
I would advise against.
That's rough. You should have targeted him in the Grant brothers matchup, Jerry and Grant versus Jeremy.
That's what I did the other I guess it was yesterday. I built that kind of lineup. I had 3 guys at the top, and then I had him. I had Larry Nance, and I did pretty. I think I had 298 with that.
Dude, what was the narrative I missed the other? Oh, that's right. Okay, so I wanted the other day. I was like, there's a bunch of narratives. So I was like, I'm gonna build an all narrative lineup, and it did okay, except that was the first game.
Forgot Steph.
I think it was I forgot Steph, dude. Steph playing in front of his dad, and I didn't play him. That burned me. And I didn't even. I think that might have been the same night as the Grant brothers, and I missed that. And they both had okay games. I think. Anyways, where were we? I forgot where we were. Were we down the OKC side? Portland side.
I've had enough of them.
Portland side, right?
Yeah, go to Portland.
Yeah, we've had enough of them. All right. So Portland here up top, Damian Lillard. Dude, I just want this guy to bounce back. He's way too cheap. 7,500. We're talking a guy that was 9K not too long ago. And Westbrook, we talked about all year, he uses so much effort on the offensive side that his defensive efficiency has just been lacking. And I think this could be the spot. I've been targeting Damian Lillard for a while now, and he just hasn't paid off, man. It's just been killing me. But at 7,500, I think this is a spot for tournaments. I wouldn't use him in cash. I wouldn't even play cash on this slate. That's just me. But he's definitely worth a shot in tournaments. He only got 34 against Westbrook last time, but he could definitely bounce back here. I don't mind him.
I'm with you. This price looks 7,500. That's kind of juicy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's been looking juicy for a while now, and he just hasn't been 35, 40, 34.8. He just hasn't been performing, and his price just keeps dropping. But maybe this is finally the bounce back spot. I'm fine. I think he'll be pretty popular in tournaments, actually, because I think a lot of people are going to have that philosophy. But
all the idiots
we'll see there. Yeah. CJ McCollum, this guy's pretty hard to predict as well. I probably won't be targeting him at 7,200. I'd much rather play Lillard for 300 more. I think Lillard has a much higher ceiling. Mason Plumlee has been, let's see, the last 2 games, he's like Oladipo, like I mentioned, the last 2 games he's done poorly once everybody pretty much hopped on him. But the 5 games before that, he had hit 5X in 5 straight, over 7X in 3 of those. He's playing really well. So I'm fine with him here at 5,900. Yeah, there's a lot of centers in play on the slate tomorrow. Let's see. Anyone? Alfred Camino. He's been hot. He's hit last 4 games, 28.5, 27.8, 25.5, 27.5, and he's still 4,800. The matchup here is okay against OKC. I think he's going to draw who's going to draw? Probably some Roberson this. So it's not great, but he's not a guy who relies too heavily on his scoring, so I think he's a fine play. From there, that's about it. I'm not going to play. Not really looking at Evan Turner, but he's a guy that just randomly can hit 7X at any time. One of your favorite plays, right, Cheezi?
Of course. There's literally no value anywhere. All of these guys are just a bunch of losers.
Dude, it's bad. Yeah, I don't know who's playing this slate. You got to be some kind of. Just kidding. I don't want to insult anybody here, but I mean, I'm not waking up early to set lineups on a 3-game slate on Super Bowl Sunday, but maybe I will. You know what? Maybe I'll
Speaking of
toss in a
Super Bowl
couple of these easy
Sunday,
lineups.
TJ, who you got tomorrow?
Oh, we got to talk some picks. All right, I'm picking the Falcons just because I'm like everybody else, and I kind of want the Patriots to lose. But also that offense, like watching it all year, is just so efficient with Matt Ryan and Kyle Shanahan.
So
and Julio, obviously.
before the season, before the playoffs started, I filled out a playoff bracket, and I picked Falcons over Patriots. So I had a chance at winning big money, but the problem was the first week I picked Matt Moore to beat the Steelers, and some other guy in my pool had all the same picks as me. So I was eliminated first week, and now I have the Super Bowl team. So I'm gonna watch the Falcons win.
Wait. How were you eliminated again?
We have all the same picks.
I'm kind of confused by that.
So even if I had the Dolphins beating the Steelers, and they made it.
He had the Steelers.
Yeah.
So you lost on one pick there.
I was done.
That's shitty.
It was really, really upsetting, and especially since I picked I never picked the Super Bowl right. I picked the Giants every year. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's shitty, dude. You should pick I honestly think the Falcons are going to win it. What do you think the Falcons are going to win, or are you?
I've just been going back and forth the past 2 weeks. I honestly have no idea. Tom Brady's like, I know you hate him. He's great.
I don't hate him. He's just overrated.
For those of you guys don't know, TJ absolutely hates Tom Brady. We had like a 2-hour conversation about why he's.
This is not accurate. I just think he's an overrated quarterback, and Peyton Manning is certainly better.
It's now 11 o'clock, and I have to be up for work in 6 hours. So that's all I have to say. TJ, any final thoughts?
Hope you guys maybe win some money on this 3-game slate. Maybe win some money on some Super Bowl squares or something, or some bets. Hopefully everyone wins some money, and go Falcons.
I have one prop bet. That's an absolute lock. Luke Bryan will wear blue jeans. Lock it in.
Was there did you make the bet on was there one for Donald Trump who he picks? Did that happen yet, or?
Oh, the odds were ridiculous. It was like minus 12.
It's got to be
it's like minus
99% chance.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's got to be the Patriots. Yeah, but the jeans bet, that was a nice one.
That's a lock.
That was a decent line. Yeah, that's a lock, and it's a decent line.
All right, that's all I have to say. Yeah, that's it. So best of luck on the slate, and I'll see you guys soon.
See ya.